Hey guys, so if you saw my last video, I went over when to rank up your gear to 4-star red and 5-star red. If you haven't seen that video, please go to my channel and check it out. We are going to be talking about gear stat priority and what kind of stats you want to be looking at. I will be going over my own stats, why I chose them, and then other possible reasons why people would want to choose certain other stats. So if we go into our well, you know what? We're going to go into the crafting system first. We're going to go look at recasting, and then we're going to look at the weapon. So in the top right-hand corner, it says Stats Preview. We're going to click on that. And now we can see everything that this weapon can roll and the values that it can land on. So the higher value is going to end up being red quality, and the lower value is going to end up being green quality. And for every single piece of gear, this chart exists, and for every piece of gear, the stats do vary. The only ones that are basically the same exact stats is going to be your chest piece, your legs, and your boots. Everything else has certain abilities that are slightly different and give different types of bonuses. So, in my video, for my character, I picked a certain direction. For your character, that direction can be completely different. But there are some base things that you're going to want to be choosing to maximize the potential of the damage you put out. Those stats would be Elemental Mastery, the element of your choice, and any kind of bonus damage you can possibly get. So, the attack stat is definitely something that I'm looking for. P attack can scale a little bit higher than attack, but attack works just fine. Bonus damage is the amount of damage that you apply on top of all your other damage, so bonus damage is definitely highly ranked. I'm a nature warrior, and I'm a pure nature warrior, meaning that after I pop my residence, I'm still a nature warrior, and we can go over that briefly, why I do that here in a little bit. And then high elemental damage mastery. Now that is the most important stat that I try and pick up. Then I have P damage, which is physical damage bonus plus 3.13%. I took this stat, and for any rare stat, what I look for is if it's yellow or better. I don't really like taking the purple stats just because I feel like you can get something that's better and it's going to scale better for you. Now you might notice that there's no strength on this, on my weapon, and that's because after looking at the stats and seeing what kind of stat weights I get, I noticed strength doesn't really give much. And you actually get more damage out of upping your attack, upping your element damage, and then flat out just increasing bonus damage or getting some kind of rare stat like P damage or crit percent. Anything that gives you a percent in this game currently without us being at level cap scales better than just increasing your strength, even if it's by 1,000 strength. It's still going to be better to increase your overall physical damage by a percentage than it will be to get a little bit of strength. That being said, so weapon, I would just state that the things I'm looking for is elemental damage and nature damage. Bonus damage is a good add-on. Some kind of bonus into actual damage, that being for me as a physical damage dealer, attack, P attack, those two options. If I can get both, awesome. And then the rare stat, which is going to be for this weapon at this current time, P damage. I've had a weapon with crit damage on it plus 13%, I believe it was, and I noticed a huge damage increase. And when I rolled it off my weapon, I noticed my damage dropped, and I didn't have any kind of rare stat. And if we go down this list, these rare stats, generally rare stats are anything with a percentage attached to it. So we have P damage, that's a rare stat. We have, let's see here, damage bonus to targets with less than 30% HP, up to 8.47%. I would have loved to have that, but I've never seen it land. Crit damage, up to 18.82%. Remember, the first number on the list is green quality. The last number is red quality at maximum. So I can have up to 18.82% crit damage on my weapon. And crit rate percent, 0.17% up to 2.35%. Pierce rate, 1% all the way up to 3.39%. Increased damage to controlled targets. Controlled targets means if you bind, stun, silence, debuff, slows, all those things. That is going to be a control, quote unquote, controlled or disabled target. Why do I say disabled? Because of runes. A lot of runes in your rune category offer bonus damages to somebody who is disabled or weakened. Weakened is when you reduce the amount of damage a target can do to you. Disabled is when that target can no longer function normally. Basically walks with a limp. But you guys get the picture. And I believe that actually says 8.17, but you know, their text is longer than the bar, so great job. Those are going to be the rare stats. That's going to be what you're looking for damage. So if I didn't land on P damage, I'd be looking for P attack. I would not be looking for strength. Strength is not going to play out that well for me. Now, that covers the weapon. Let's look at gloves. So gloves, same deal. They have, what is it called? I apologize. The offensive stats for rerolling. So if we look at the stat preview, it's all here. A lot of the same stuff. We have crit, we have hit percent, we have crit damage. But as you can see, there's not as many special effects on here as there was with the weapon, okay? But all those special stats are nice. We also can get any of the basic standard stats, strength, dex, int, stamina, spirit, even just standard hit. Those stats don't scale nearly as good as the percentage. I would prefer to take a 1% increase to my hit rating than plus 202 hit. So let's see here. Same thing goes with crit, right? So if I got 202 crit, but I could have 1% crit rate, I would take the 1% crit rate. As far as the math goes behind those numbers, I haven't been able to break that down. It takes too much of moving around stats and everything to find the numbers. Maybe a dev out there will see this video and be able to break down exactly how much crit you need to get 1% crit rate. All I know is that 1% crit rate is a lot of crit, and it's definitely more than 202. Okay, so we're looking at offensive stats. Again, mastery. If you can get mastery on that piece of gear, you get it. It's going to dramatically increase the amount of damage you can put out. And then go for your element damage. So again, I'm a nature warrior, so we're going for nature damage. I got crit. Now, why did I take crit after talking so much about, oh, I shouldn't have crit and everything else? It rolled. I landed on it. I couldn't get a better stat. I will take it. It's fine. I have my attack stat. I have my bonus damage stat. I have my element, and I have my mastery damage. Crit is basically when I had all these guys locked up. All right, I'm using 24 recast stones, and I'm 160 diamonds per recast. I want to take the first thing that comes at me, so I'll take it. Not that bad, okay? Now we'll go to necklace, and we're looking at strength. So notice I only have 330 strength, right? And actually, now that I remember, my necklace is not rolled for R11. It's rolled for R9, I think, or R8. I'm pretty sure I've skipped it once or twice when I'm looking at recasts. I'm out of recast stones. I can't fix it. I'm sorry. It's a little embarrassing. So the only thing I really like about my necklace right now is the fact that it has elemental damage mastery on it and some bonus damage. I don't really care much about the strength, even though it does do a little bit more for me, and I'll explain why here in a minute. The main class stat is basically the main stat that increases the most. It's suggested underneath your stat page, and I'll show that to you right now. When you go here, not there. When you go here, you go to your stats, right? You see the green? How strength is highlighted green? That's my main class stat. Strength is the main attribute, allowing them to have greater P attack, P defense, crit resistance, Awesome. It's also recommended improving strength, stamina, P attack, P def, and M def. That's perfect. It's all in the description right there underneath your stat details. And yet, strength does not scale. Even if I had 7,000 strength, it's not going to be the same as if I had 7,000 P attack. All right? P attack is going to be a more heavy weighted stat than strength will be. Sure, you get a little bit more defensive stats out of it, but ultimately, let the defensive stats be on your gear. Don't waste a potentially defensive stat on something that's offensive, okay? Now, did I cover gloves? I believe yes, I did. All right. And then your emblem. Your emblem goes up all the time. All right. You're following the storyline. Get what you can get. If you look at my emblem, I got elemental damage mastery, I got crit, I got damage bonus, and I got nature damage. And then I got 1% hit rate. I love the fact I got 1% hit rate. I need every little percentage that I can get. So that's a great stat for me. Damage bonus, again, it's additional damage on top of your attack. It's great. Nature damage, need to get that as high as possible. Mastery, need to get that high as possible. Crit, again, it's a good stat. It's not as good as percentage, but I'll take it. Now we're looking at my ring. So, ring. We have nature damage. We have P attack. And then we have one of my favorite things to get on any of my gear. High damage bonus to targets with less than 30% HP, plus 4.2%. All right, I will explain why here in a minute, but I have literally made my warrior based around that stat. And then we got my mastery and we have my damage bonus. This has not been rolled. It is R10. These are R9 stats. It can go up higher. I rolled a bunch of stuff at R9 because I didn't get all my gear to red until R9. So a few pieces I never actually were able to get up. I rolled them when they were at red, and now I'm waiting until I can get it to R11. My earring. My earring is rolled. My earring is R11 stats, and you can see what I got. I got my mastery damage, so check on that. I got stamina, I got class main stat, and I got hit, and I got bonus damage. So, after all I said, I've been lying to you. Not really. I took it because it's great, because I couldn't resist the fact that I had just spent 200 plus recast stones and locked all my stats. And look, my hit is maxed. The main class stat is basically maxed. And stamina is pretty close to there, but most importantly, elemental damage mastery is 100%. So I'm getting the most mastery out of this piece that I could possibly get. And then I got my damage bonus, you know? So who can argue with that? Getting absolutely perfect stats, making sure that every single piece is absolutely perfect is not the most important thing. The general rule is know what you're really looking for, take everything else. So my number one is elemental damage mastery. Having that percentage as high as I possibly can is super important to me. It's important because in 3v3s, in anything that you do that is quote unquote balanced, because PvP is not pure stats versus pure stats. You get a nerf when you go into 1v1s. You get nerfed when you go into 3v3s. You get nerfed when you go into 5v5s. You even get nerfed when you go into Zodiac or Devil's Domain. Nothing that you do in this game is going to be based around your actual stats. They balance it. They say you're not supposed to be this strong, so we're going to make you weaker. And if you're weak, they're going to say we're going to give you a little bit of a damage bonus and a little bit of a stat bonus, but we're not going to give you enough to make you as strong as that ridiculously high CP'd player that's number one on your server, because he still needs to feel special. So don't worry about the max. But the one exception to the rule is elemental damage mastery. That percentage never changes. Not ever. Not in ranked 3v3s, not anywhere in this entire game. If you have 100% elemental damage mastery, you have 100% elemental damage mastery. It doesn't lie to you. It's the truth, and it's the only thing that matters. It doesn't matter if your nature damage gets cut in half, because that's what happens in ranked 3v3s. My mastery is still 100%, so I'm getting a lot more than that other guy who has only 30% mastery or no percent mastery. That's the difference, and that's why I love this stat. It's the exception to the rule. So that's on everything, and I make sure it's always on everything, and I take what I can get. Again, using your recast stones because it's so valuable smartly is the most wise thing you can possibly do. Now we're going to be looking at, so those are all the offensive stats. We're going to look at some defensive stats. Elemental resistance, stamina, thunder, HP, flat defense increase. Notice that these stats aren't really close to perfect. I don't really care too much about them because I'm more worried about getting the most bang for my buck as far as damage output. And my defensive stats scale pretty well. Doesn't matter if they're at 100% or anything like that. I don't feel that I need to invest a lot of money. Now, if we were all level capped and our gear was at maximum, everything's R16, well, then I'm going to get every single stat absolutely perfect and absolutely 100% if there's no more gear to be made, right? Okay, so why take strength on gear? Strength is an offensive stat that also gives defense and can be put onto all your defensive gear. So you boost your damage, you boost your defense. It's a win-win situation. HP, getting more health is always good, takes longer to kill you. Dodge rate, if you can get it, because dodge is broken. If you dodge, that means you take 0 damage. It's a good thing to do. Crit damage reduction, if you get crit, it's reduced. Good thing to do. Best thing to do is damage reduction from Mage and from Miko. So the helmet can reduce a 20% damage reduction from Mages or Mikos. That's huge. That means I'm fighting a mage. I'm taking 20% less damage. Rolling something like this is going to be really big. If you get it, if you're lucky, take it and run with it. Lock it when you go into the next R step because honestly, it doesn't pop up that often and you want something like that. Any percentage of damage reduction, it's just a flat damage reduction, is going to help you in the long run. And an example of that would be right here, my bottom stat on my shoulders. High damage reduction from gunners, 16.35%. A lot of people play gunners. Gunners do one of the highest damages that they can possibly do. So shoulders can roll damage reduction against swordsmen or gunners, up to 20%. So hey, I'm going to take it. I'm going to run with it. These are R11. My shoulders are not rolled for R11. These were actually rolled at R10. And I'm going to continue to run with it. I will probably lock that 16% and roll. If I get the swordman with 16%, I will use both of them. And then I will use the rest of my stats to just get stronger from there. And then we have, oh, that's offensive, excuse me. Right here, rare stat, crit damage reduction. I get a 10% damage reduction from crits. I have 288 dodge, I get 296 block, and I get some P defense, and I get some crit resistance. Crit resistance reduces crit. Now, if you're looking to be a tank, a really, really tanky person, and you want to go a certain route, then you can pick whatever stats you want to pick. Honestly, the only thing that I feel is really the best that you can possibly get would be damage reduction against an actual class, damage reduction against being controlled, reduced crit damage. Anything that has a percentage on it is going to be the best. It's the same as the offensive. When you're looking at a percent increase in hit rate, a percent increase in crit, you take them. You look at a percent reduction from a certain type of class, you take it. Chess piece can make it so when you're being controlled, so if you're frozen, if you're stunned, if you're silenced, you just get a flat damage decrease. Things like that are things to keep an eye out for. They pop up very rarely, and if you get them, great. If you don't get them, it's not the end of the world. Remember, you got a lot of gear to be working on this for. So we got legs. We got damage reduction from mages and Mikos, just like the helmet. So we can stack that. We got crit damage reduction, we got other defenses, and we got offensive stats like strength or dex that you can put on your gear to make yourself a little bit stronger. And then on my gear, I got crit resistance, pierce resistance, magic damage reduction, a percentage. So anybody who uses magic, Mikos and mages, hey, look, I just take 3% damage less from you guys. So you gotta love it. You just got to go with what you get. If you get a rare stat, it's based on a percentage, and it's worth keeping. All right, now we got boots. Nothing special on my boots. Let's see what we can get. Stamina just increases my HP and my P-Def and M-Def. I can get damage reduction against being controlled or being weakened. When you're weakened, that means you're dealing 10% less damage. And it looks like a gunner damage reduction on boots as well. So that's pretty good. Oh, and flat damage reduction when your HP is below 30%. Awesome. Okay? It's all good stuff. I know the video is running a little long, guys. Bear with me. I got a few more things to go over, and then I'll just scroll through all my stats and we'll call it good, okay? So why am I so focused on damage bonus to targets under 30%? Okay? We're going to go to my cycle. We're going to go here. We're going to look at Equilibrium, which is what I love. This is the spec that I like to play. Now, everybody should mind what spec they're playing. 99.9% of the population plays strong attack. That's fine. Enjoy it. Nothing's wrong with going that. I like playing a tankier class that does good damage, so I can go with Equilibrium. Defense, I played with it, didn't like it, does nothing for you, and honestly, it doesn't make you any tankier either. They could remove it and everything would be fine. All right, so main things. Let's start off with the worst possible reason why you'd ever want to take this class, this talent. The thing that makes your hit rating absolutely nothing and negative, right? It's still bugged. It's still terrible. Weakness detection. It does the exact opposite of what it says of reducing your hit by 2.25%. It's more like it allows your hit to be 2.25% and nothing else. Okay? It's more like up to 2.25% is what you can actually have. And I'll show you guys my hit and you'll see what I mean. But then we have this thing called Bloodthirsty, and it increases the damage I deal to targets with 30% less by 4.5%. So I already got a 4.5%. If you remember on my ring, I have another 4%. So now we're looking at 8%, plus then you go to Sanctuary gear and you get even more. All right, and then now this is why strength is still okay, okay? And if you're playing this talent tree, your main stat is still okay. Every 200 of your main stat will increase the damage and the resistance to damage by 0.045%. Believe it or not, that adds up. I'll let you do the math, pick a number, multiply it by the percentage. You'll figure out how much damage reduction you get, okay? You level it up, it's 0.075. Eventually, I mean, this thing goes all the way up to 10, right? So it's probably a huge amount 3 years from now when we actually can put points in a cycle tree. All right, so that's great. Strong attack has increase your hit rating, does additional damage. It has Pierce, which makes it great for Mikos and mages. It has random elemental damage, and it has, when your HP is lower than 40%, you have a chance to do some more damage. That's great. I would much rather be guaranteed a percent damage done, be guaranteed damage reduction and an increase in damage, being guaranteed a shield around my character to just absorb damage so I don't take as much damage, have reduction of damage with an increase in my attack. You know, things like this make this broken ability seem worth it. And this guy over here, anybody can have this, anybody can do this, and I call it an okay thing. But if you got the hit rating, you got the stats for it, make your way over to this nice blue bar and really enjoy the game, okay? That's my opinion, and you can make a decision for yourself on that. Now let's just quickly, because this video is going way too long, go over my actual stats. So we got 2,900 strength. It has been going down as I've been recasting. I got to get more strength on my actual defensive gear to counteract that. But my P attack, 135,000. Magic attack, nobody cares about because I'm melee. We got physical defense. We got magic defense, 38,000 and 36,000. Not too shabby. We got 2.2 million HP. We have 11,453 hits. I'm going to compare my stats to our number 2 on the server, and you guys can be the judge on whether or not the hit rating is completely broken from Equilibrium. Again, 11,453 hit. I have invested in this stat. We have 10,091 dodge. My hit rating is a whopping 2.96%. Oh, it actually went up today. That's nice. Oh, dodge rating, 2.95%. Barely anything. We got crit, 10,356. We have crit resistance of a pitiful number, 8,000. We have crit rate of 6.75%. I swear I've upped my crit by like 3,000 and it has not moved. So there's that. We have resist crit by 3%. We have crit damage, a whopping 227.45%. Crit damage does not get changed in the space field when you're attacking that giant magical mechanical dragon in space. I don't understand it, but it doesn't get changed, and that scales your damage because all your other stats get changed, and that's why you can be number one if you have the most crit damage, or you can be in last place with no crit damage. You make the decision. Resistance to crit damage. We have Pierce of a whopping 3,795. I am playing a warrior. I don't care about Pierce. We have Magic Pierce. It's even lower. We have resistance to Pierce. That can be important because mages and Mikos and gunners love Pierce. We have resistance to Magic Pierce. We have Pierce rate of a whopping 2%. I have 2% Pierce without actually caring about it. We have resistance to Pierce rate is 1.75%. And now we have our block rate and our block. Block, when you block an attack, you take 0 of that damage. So I have a 0.15% chance to block. With the new mount that just came out, and once we figure out how to unlock the passive abilities, block rate will become more of a thing and break rate will become more of a thing. Oh, excuse me, I have 0.30% block rate with a 0.15% chance to break through the block. All right, now we're going to go to the important stuff. My nature damage, 4,546. To me, that's a little low. It could be over 5K. It's just how I rolled stuff. I'll accept it though. And the most important stat, the stat that never changes, the stat that only increases when you get Renaissance or when you go into your second form, which is also my nature damage. Nature mastery, 115%. That means all my nature damage is being increased by 115% all the time. And when I pop into my secondary tree, I'm at 130%. So yeah, it does a lot of damage. And yes, it is worth it. And yes, it does show. It lets me keep up with actual DPSs, and I'm only a nice little tank, okay? So now we got some resistances, which I get from my equilibrium tree, and we have some mastery for stun and silence, and I believe that's just increases the success rate of those abilities on other players and other mobs. Bosses cannot be stunned, blind, silenced, slowed, heal locked, or any of that stuff, okay? But all of these things are disable. Every single one of these. Stuns, blind, silence, slows, heal locked, interrupts, stun. Oh, that's all resistances. All right, so all those things are what's quote unquote called a disable. Then we have some monster damage bonuses and other damage bonuses and resistance to players, resistance to boss damages. Most of these stats you get from your guild stats, and you get from cycle and everything else. So if we go over here, in the very, very bottom. So I have a net of, oh, well, first I have 16.35% damage reduction from gunners. Awesome. But if you look at this, targets 30% and under, I get a plus 10.12% increase in my damage. Why is this important? Because it's amazing. It lets me burn down that whale boss every Sunday for my server and pass up everybody because I get a nice little buff for doing absolutely nothing but hitting something. And if my HP is below 30%, I get a 2.8% increase in my damage as well. And then I resist 4.2% damage when my HP is below 30% as well. So those are all good. If you've made it this far in the video, I want to thank you. I'm sorry I'm rushing it, and we're just going to cover a few more things, but thank you again for watching. Hope you guys all liked the video so far and you subscribe. There's going to be more. There will be a Discord link in the description below for you guys to join my new Discord. Come meet me and Evil Wolf. We are both doing YouTube videos for Eternal Sword. He's been cranking them out way more than me, and I'm jealous about that. I need to pick up my game, and I hope to be able to talk to you all in Discord. So the last few things that I want to cover is, and I'm not going to cover it in detail, it'll be another video, Sanctuary gear. Look at the stats, okay? Damage bonus to target under 30%, increased by 1.4%. Stuff like that is all over this gear, okay? It's important. It all helps. Damage reduction, damage increase. It's all there for you. And with the new system, the new skill rune system, I can go into my abilities. I can have a nice little ability like Epic Slay, and when targets lower than 30%, increase this ability's damage by 5%. Or if you go to my ultimate, increase it by 12.5%. That stacks on top of the 10% that I have. That's a 22% damage increase on my ultimate. That's huge. So those are stats. Those are stat priorities. Thank you all for watching the video. Keep an eye out for my next one. It's going to be about runes. It's going to be about what you should be looking out for on your abilities, what kind of runes you should be looking at, how to build them up, what to do, what's worth buying, what's worth equipping, what kind of strategies can you go with your character, and the reasons that you would be using those kind of runes. Again, I hope this video helps you guys. I apologize for it being so long. Check the description for the Discord invite. Keep on playing and enjoying the game. If you have any questions whatsoever in the Discord, select your class. I got multiple people that I know that I can help me help you with learning your class and being able to push forward. Again, if you haven't seen the video for when to rank up your gear to red, please watch it. Please learn from it. It's very simple and it's pretty straightforward. I apologize for the long video one last time. Have a great night or a great day. Take care, guys. Bye.